Hello and welcome back to Choice Bits of Bliss. My name is Cilla. You are joining me in this video on a collaboration called Through the Rainbow. Jeanielinguine, that is her YouTube channel, came up with a challenge to motivate us to use our color categorized paper stock. Typically, this is going to be patterned paper, patterned cardstock that we have placed in a section of our inventory, stash, product, however you want to call it. We've placed it in the Roy G. Biv method of sortation. So that's going to be red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. And then because we're crafters, we're going to have in some order of that, either at the beginning or at the end, our neutrals. She has chosen a color for us to work with for each month of the year. January is white, and it's a little bit of a challenge to play with primarily white for a layout. So the product that I have laying out on the table right now is what I have chosen. I decided to not work within a collection. I pulled the paper that I'm using. All of it came out of my white inventory, except for this piece of vellum with music and this piece of punch out. As I go through each one of them, we'll talk about them, where they came from, all of that. So I want you to follow the links below. We have a lot of fascinating people that are joining us this month. As each of us are able, we will play along. But I think this is a great way to keep us motivated. It helps us to tap into, for me, I will speak for myself, it's a category in my inventory that I do not access very often. And when I say very often, I mean almost never. So I'm excited about this. I am really pumped about forcing myself to go over there and pull from my color categories. Another little, to elevate the challenge just a little bit more, a few of us have decided that as we pull out a color category, we're going to also purge. And I've already done that. When I was pulling my papers, I went through my white section, so my cream and white is all together. And I may be a little color blind because there were some things in there that were neither cream nor white. That's another story for another day. However, I did go through it. I purged about 1/4 of an inch of patterned cardstock, and I feel really good about it. I feel great about doing this for the rest of the year. So now let's talk about the papers that I have chosen to do for this layout. I have chosen a piece of musical note vellum that I got from Hobby Lobby. Now, in my inventory, this is a basic. This is something that I typically always have on hand because I love music notes. And when they go on sale, when Hobby Lobby has their paper, what's it called? Papers. Oh, shoot, I've forgotten their brand name. Anyway, they do it half off every other week. And if I'm running low on some of my basics, that's when I go pick it up, is when they have it half off. So this vellum I keep in my stock all the time. And I have for quite a few years. So I'm starting with that. Now, because I'm not working with a collection, And this month, I'm just pulling from my color category. I'm going to have to make some of my own embellishments. So I found this, and you can tell it's already fallen out. These little punch outs, they're from the collection Stationery Noted. The designer is Teresa Collins. I don't know if there's a year on this or not. 2013. Now, I believe this is something that I purchased from Emma's Papery when she was going out of business. It is not something that I had in my my stash already. So I will be selecting some of the white and black elements from that sheet. This paper, this cardstock, is very, very old. It does not have a date on it, but it is a pack that I got from Tuesday morning before I took my break of scrapbooking. And I know I took my break in scrapbooking in 2009. I purchased it before then. So there's that. And can you tell it has that sheen to it? Yeah. But I love this stamp I love that. So I will use that part. Now, if you'll notice, I'm using cool tones and warm tones. So I'm using creams and the whites together. I don't know in what configuration I'm going to be using these, but it's going to work together. This paper is a Christmas paper, obviously. It's from American Crafts. I don't know if it was with a collection or not. It was a 2014. I think this one also came from Emma's Papery. This is October Afternoon from 2015, and I bought this at a convention. It was a pack of 25, and I jumped on it like a chicken on a June bug because it's October Afternoon, and this is just basic, and it's so easily, you can easily incorporate it into so many layouts. This wood grain is from the Winter Farmhouse Simple Stories collection from 2019. I got this as a 25 pack from Tuesday morning. Zero regrets. I would do it again in a heartbeat. These basic designs like this, I have no qualms about buying those in a multi-pack, in the 25 packs. And this is thin, but I like the text on it. I have no idea where I got this from, but it was in my white category, and we'll see if I can get this to feature somewhere on my layout. I'm going to lay the paper aside because it's a little distracting as I'm talking about how I'm going to incorporate my embellishments. And to kick it up one more notch, we selected five products that we're going to use each month that we've not been using to encourage us to dig into those categories. So I chose for my tool, stamps and ink. My oldie is ribbon. So ribbon in my inventory is very, very old because I don't buy ribbon anymore. Well, I'm not going to say never, because I did buy some velvet trim. But anyway, that's beside the point. The rest of my ribbon is old, very old. My technique is going to be embossing. So I have an embossing folder. This one has never, ever, ever been used. Can you see the floral design on it? The floral and the leaves. So that's going to be the technique I'm going to use. I'm going to use for product ephemera and border strips. So this is my stamps I'm going to be using, as well as this wooden block stamp. I'm going to be using, I want to create some texture because there's so much cream and white on this layout. So I've added some canvas tags, a sewn canvas block, some floral pieces, a little bag, That's got a toile design, some washi, another tag. This is a border strip, because with my ephemera, I'm also using border strips as part of my challenge. I'm going to incorporate some gauze, and I have a doily. So this is how I'm going to create my ephemera, because I don't have a collection to play with. I'm going to have to make it. So I'm going to pause the video. Y'all know I can't create in front of you with you watching me, because that makes me nervous. And I can't do that. So I'll be right back with a completed layout, and we'll talk about what all I added on it. See you in a little bit. All right, we're back with the finished layout. So let's talk about first, did I use my 5 products? And yes, I did. I'm so excited about that. I'll point them out in just a moment. There's a couple other things I want to talk about as we go along. I want to talk about the scissors, and I'm going to talk about ink. So I'm going to pull the layout closer so that we can look at some of the detail. I did emboss my fabric. It's a canvas tag. I used my toile pocket. I just cut it in half. So I used this part here, tucked it under my ribbon, and then I used the other half down here because I had a ink boo-boo and I needed to cover it up. And so what's that saying? Mistakes are room for embellishments. And that's exactly what I did. I added an embellishment here and a little cluster that wasn't originally planned. I have this cluster here in the corner. I stamped in the corner. I also stamped, I'm not sure you can see, on this piece of canvas. Just made a little cluster there. I stamped across the top here. I used ephemera here, here, and I used a border strip here, and I also layered it in here. So I got all in my 5 products, and I used white primarily because this ink, this is called Rosemary. It's by close to my heart. I have gotten rid of all my inks except for my Distress Oxides, and I've gone to close to my heart for ink. I love it. I love how it works. It's super easy. I love this magnetic case. So as much as I love close to my heart ink, if you have a brand of ink that you love and you like how it works, stay with it. Don't change because somebody else uses something different. I also wanted to talk about these scissors. Now these are from Creative Memories. They're old as dirt. They're for a brief minute, I was a consultant in the early 2000s. I want to say from 2000 to 2002, in that range. So I had gotten these. This design is also called a decal edge, I believe. Creative Memories called it the antique, and they still cut great. I used them to cut the edge just to give it a little bit of texture there of that bag. What else can I tell you? Oh yeah, I used a really subtle toned brown to ink some of my edges. I did not ink all of my edges, I just did some. When you're using tones that are very similar or the same, it helps to be able to show the difference when they're layered by just inking a little bit, and it just kind of shows depth and dimension. I think that's everything that I needed to talk about. Oh, I used this color of green cardstock to map my photo. Because it is very similar to the rosemary ink. That is the only color that is added to this layout. So we stayed in the white family. It's not white, but it is in the white family, and I'm calling this a win. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you follow everyone else who's playing along this month. Come back soon. I'll have more to share, I'm sure. Bye-bye.